Democracy depends on a free press. Please support our independent journalism at democracynow.org/give. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman in New York, joined by Democracy Now!'s Juan Gonzalez in Chicago. Hi, Juan.
Hi, Amy, and welcome to all of our listeners and viewers across the country and around the world.
President Trump addressed a joint session of Congress in a highly partisan 100-minute speech, the longest presidential address to Congress in modern history. Trump defended his sweeping actions over the past 6 weeks.
We have accomplished more in 43 days than most administrations accomplished in 4 years or 8 years, and we are just getting started.
President Trump praised his biggest campaign donor, the world's richest man, Elon Musk, who's leading Trump's effort to dismantle key government agencies and cut critical government services.
And to that end, I have created the brand new Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Perhaps you've heard of it. Perhaps. Which is headed by Elon Musk, who is in the gallery tonight. Thank you, Elon. He's working very hard. He didn't need this. He didn't need this. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Some Democrats laughed and pointed at Elon Musk when President Trump made this comment later in his speech.
It's very simple, and the days of rule by unelected bureaucrats are over.
During his speech, President Trump repeatedly attacked the trans and immigrant communities, defended his tariffs that have sent stock prices spiraling, vowed to end Russia's war on Ukraine, and threatened to take control of Greenland.
We also have a message tonight for the incredible people of Greenland. We strongly support your right to determine your own future. And if you choose, we welcome you into the United States of America. We need Greenland for national security and even international security, and we're working with everybody involved to try and get it. But we need it really for international world security, and I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it.
During Trump's 100-minute address, Democratic lawmakers held up signs in protest reading, "This is not normal," "Save Medicaid," and "Musk steals." One Democrat, Congressmember Al Green of Texas, was removed from the chamber for protesting the president.
Likewise, small business optimism saw its single largest one-month gain ever recorded, a 41-point jump.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning. Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order to the joint session. Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
That was House Speaker Mike Johnson, who called in security to take Texas Democratic Congressmember Al Green out. Afterwards, Green spoke to reporters after being removed.
The president said he had a mandate. And I was making it clear to the president that he has no mandate to cut Medicaid. I have people who are very fearful. These are poor people, and they have only Medicaid in their lives when it comes to their health care. And I want him to know that his budget calls for deep cuts in Medicaid. He needs to save Medicaid, protect it. We need to raise the cap on Social Security. There's a possibility that it's going to be hurt. And we've got to protect Medicare. These are the safety net programs that people in my congressional district depend on. And this president seems to care less about them and more about the number of people that he can remove from the various programs that have been so helpful to so many people.
Texas Democratic Congressmember Al Green. We begin today's show with Ralph Nader, the longtime consumer advocate, corporate critic, former presidential candidate. Ralph Nader is founder of the Capital Citizen newspaper's most recent lead article in the new issue of Capitol Hill Citizen is titled, Democratic Party Apologized to America for Ushering Trump Back In. He is also the author of the forthcoming book, Let's Start the Revolution, Tools for Displacing the Corporate State and Building a Country That Works for the People. Medicaid, Social Security, Medicare, all these different programs. Ralph Nader, respond overall to President Trump's, longest congressional address in modern history.
Well, it was also a declaration of war against the American people, including Trump voters in favor of the super rich and the giant corporations. What Trump did last night was set a record for lies, delusionary fantasies, predictions of future broken promises, a rerun of his first term, boasts about progress that don't exist. In practice, he has launched a trade war. He has launched an arms race with China and Russia. He has perpetuated and even worsened the genocidal support against the Palestinians. He never mentioned the Palestinians once, and he's taken Biden's genocidal policies one step further by demanding the evacuation of Palestinians from Gaza. But taking it as a whole, Amy, what we're seeing here defies most of dictionary adjectives. What Trump and Musk and Vance and the supine Republicans are doing are installing an imperial, militaristic, domestic dictatorship that is going to end up in a police state. You can see his appointments are yes people bent on suppression of civil liberties, civil rights. You can see his breakthrough after over 120 years of announcing conquest of Panama Canal. He's basically said one way or another he's going to take Greenland. These are not just imperial controls of countries overseas or overthrowing them. It's actually seizing land. Now, on the Greenland thing, Greenland is a province of Denmark, which is a member of NATO. He is ready to basically conquer a part of Denmark in violation of Section 5 of NATO. At the same time that he has displayed full-throated support for a hardcore communist dictator, Vladimir Putin, who started out with the Russian version of the CIA under the Soviet Union and now has over 20 years of communist dictatorship, allied, of course, with a number of oligarchs, a kind of kleptocracy. And the Republicans are buying all this in Congress. This is complete reversal of everything that the Republicans stood for against communist dictators. So what we're seeing here is a phony program of government efficiency, ripping apart people's programs, The attack on Social Security is new. Complete lies about millions of people aged 110, 120 getting Social Security checks. That's a new attack. He left Social Security alone in his first term, but now he's going after. So what they're going to do is cut Medicaid and cut other social safety nets in order to pay for another tax cut for the super rich and the corporation, throwing in no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security benefits, which will, of course, further increase the deficit and give the lie to his statement that he wants a balanced budget. So we're dealing with a deranged, unstable, pathological liar who's getting away with it. And the question is, how does he get away with it year after year? Because the Democratic Party has basically collapsed. They don't know how to deal with a criminal recidivist, a person who has hired workers without documents and exploited them, a person who's a bigot against immigrants, including legal immigrants who are performing totally critical tasks in home health care, processing poultry, meat, and half of the construction workers in Texas are undocumented workers. So as a bully, he doesn't go after the construction industry in Texas. He picks out individuals. I thought the most disgraceful thing, Amy, yesterday was his use of these unfortunate people who suffered as props, holding one up after another. But they were also Trump's crutches to cover up his contradictory behavior. So he praises the police yesterday, but he pardoned over 600 people who attacked violently the police on January 6th and were convicted and imprisoned as a result, and he let them out of prison. I thought the most heart-rending thing was that 13-year-old child who wanted to be a police officer when he grew up, being held up twice by his father. And he was so bewildered as to what was going on. And Trump's use of these people was totally reprehensible and should be called out. Now, more basically, the real inefficiencies in government they're ignoring because they're kleptocrats. They're ignoring corporate crimes on Medicaid, Medicare, tens of billions of dollars every year, ripping off Medicare, ripping off government contracts such as defense contracts. He's ignoring hundreds of billions of dollars of corporate welfare, including that dealt out to Elon Musk, subsidies, handouts, giveaways, bailouts, you name it. And he's ignoring the bloated military budget, which he is supporting the Republicans in actually increasing the military budget more than the generals have asked for. So that's
Ralph,
the
Ralph, if I can interrupt, I just need
to pursue.
Ralph, I wanted to ask you about specifically about Medicaid and Medicare. What you mentioned that the cuts to these safety net programs. What about Medicaid, especially the crisis in this country and long-term care? What do you see happening in this Trump administration, especially with the Republican majority in Congress?
Well, they're going to slash. They're going to move to slash Medicaid, which serves over 71 million people, including millions of Trump voters who should be reconsidering their vote as the days pass, because they're being exploited in red states, blue states, everywhere as well. They have to cut tens of billions of dollars a year from Medicaid to pay for the tax cut. That's number one. Now they're going after Social Security. Who knows what the next step will be on Medicare? They're leaving Americans totally defenseless by slashing meat and poultry and food inspection laws, auto safety. They're exposing people to climate violence by cutting FEMA, the rescue agency. They're cutting forest rangers deal with wildfires. They're cutting protections against pandemics and epidemics by slashing and ravaging and suppressing free speech in scientific circles like CDC and National Institutes of Health. They're leaving the American people defenseless. And where are the Democrats on this? I mean, look at Senator Slotkin's response. It was a typical rerun of a feeble, weak Democratic rebuttal. She couldn't get herself, just like the Democrats in 2024, which led to Trump's victory. They can't get themselves, Juan, to talk specifically and authentically about raising the minimum wage, expanding health care, cracking down on corporate crooks that are bleeding out the incomes of hard-pressed American workers and the poor. They can't get themselves to talk about increasing frozen Social Security budgets for 50 years that 200 Democrats supported raising, but Nancy Pelosi kept them when she was Speaker from taking John Larson's bill to the House floor. That's why they lose. Look at her speech. It was so vague in general. They chose her because she was in the national security state. She was a former CIA. They chose her because they wanted to promote the losing version of the Democratic Party instead of choosing Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders, the most popular polled politician in America today. That's who they chose. So as long as the Democrats monopolize the opposition and crush third-party efforts to push them into more progressive realms, the Republican plutocratic Wall Street war machine declaration of war against the American people will continue. We're heading into the most serious crisis in American history.
Ralph Nader, we're going to have to leave it there, but of course we're going to continue to cover these issues. And I also wanted to wish you, Ralph, a happy 91st birthday. Ralph Nader.
I wish people to get the Capital Citizen, which tells people what they can really do to win democracy and justice back. So for $5 or donation or more, if you wish, you can go to Capitol Hill Citizen and get a copy sent immediately by first-class mail, or more copies for your circle of resisting and protesting and prevailing over this Trump dictatorship.
Ralph Nader, longtime consumer advocate, corporate critic, four-time presidential candidate, founder of the Capitol Hill Citizen newspaper. Democracy Now! Is funded by viewers like you. Please give today at democracynow.org/give.